Hey guys, it's Jeff from Ohio Hunters. I just wanted to share this quick tutorial on controlling your 120 volt prop devices with either a wireless remote control or a timer control used normally on a fog machine. Okay, so you're only going to need to buy a couple items to make this work. One is a standard computer cable. I believe they call these an SVT cable. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a computer guy, but basically you've got your outlet on this end and your female connector on this end. This would connect into, this would plug right into your, either your wireless connector or your timer control. Another thing you're going to need is just a standard extension cord, a 2-prong. I think I picked this up at Walmart for a couple bucks. So those are probably the only couple things you're going to have to buy, other than some, basic soldering techniques. So that's it. Okay, one of the first things you have to do is take your computer cord and cut it, and then splice the ends. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to film it. Because I can't hold the camera at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so I have my wire cut. I've got my 3 lines spliced. Okay, so for this setup, on your 3-prong outlet here, looking at it this way, the prong to the left is going to represent your negative. The prong in the middle is your positive, and the prong to the right is your positive when the switch is activated. Okay, the next thing you want to do is take your outlet that you bought, or your, I should say, extension cord you bought, and just take the plug end. We're not going to be using a whole lot of this, so basically I'm going to take, 3-4 inches and cut it off at the plug end. Okay, now that I have my plug cut off, I do want to note it's probably a good practice now to test the polarity of what you have here. I have a continuous checker. You can buy these fairly cheap. And what I want to make sure is that on your standard plug, you have a big end and a little end. The little end is your positive. The big end is or the wider end is your negative. So I just want to make sure what end is which. And there we go. So I know that's my positive. So make sure you check that and use the positive and the negative to connect up to where I tell you to connect it to. Okay, so now that we have our wire split, I know this is my positive. I'm going to connect the positive of our switch to the green wire, which in this case comes off the middle prong, which is our positive. So positive off of our switch to the green wire. Okay, the next thing we're going to need to do is we need to make a jumper wire, meaning we need a wire to go from here to here. So basically what I did was I took our remaining wire, I cut it in half, to 3 inches or so. Just all I need is one wire, so you just cut it down the middle and splice both ends of it, just like that. And that's what we'll need for the next step. Okay, so what you should have is something like this so far. So, on our switch, we have our positive connected to the green wire on our input. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, since we just cut our jumper wire, we need to take our negative from our plug, connect it to the black wire coming from our switch. That's a negative. And then we need to also connect our jumper to that. So basically, all three of these we need to wire tie together. And I only have one hand available, so let me do that and I'll show it to you. Okay, so what you should have here now is 2 wire ties with these wires tied together, and this was our jumper wire. Okay, so I am going to connect the white wire here, the positive, to the positive on our output switch, and the negative, this jumper switch, the negative jumper switch, to the negative on the output switch. Okay, so once you have everything connected, like here I just used a bunch of tie connectors. I thought I was going to have to solder a bunch of stuff, but I really didn't have to. I just used those, these little tie connectors. And so once you have everything done and wrap it with electrical tape, this is what you should have. So basically, you have your input plug, which goes to your, in this case, your plugs right into your either your remote control, or if you have a timer, you can also plug it into that. And then you plug this into whatever you want to control. So right here I have a light. So if I want to plug the light in there, I should be able to control that light with either the timer or the remote control. Okay, so I have everything plugged in. I have this plugged in to my remote control receptacle, and I have this light plugged in. So basically, if I press this button, the light should come on, and it does. So it comes on and off. Okay, so here's my setup, and I just connected this to a regular fog machine timer. No splicing of wires, or it's a direct connection. And this is just an example, but I have a light connected, and if I press the power button, this is the manual button, which would normally turn on the fog, which turns on the light. But if I set the timer command, this should light up the light every 10 seconds. If we wait for it, there we go. Okay. So, basically, with this simple setup, which is disconnectable, you can switch it from either using the remote or a timer, or actually you could even use a manual switch if you wanted to. You can switch this, you can disconnect this, and oh, I can't do it with one hand, I'm sorry. But basically, you don't have to ruin any of your timers, your remotes. You can keep all those, and maybe from year to year you want to switch things around like I wanted to do this year. And so this would represent, when this thing comes off, my coffin coming on and coming off. So you can do it for light, you can do it for anything that can control 120 volts. You got it. So, hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you.